What's up people, it's nearly 6 o'clock in the morning here in Katowice and I'm going to be showing you how to shoot a sunrise time-lapse today.
Okay, so sunrise was a bit optimistic. Unfortunately I didn't have the best weather for it, but this was the practice I used for a night to day time-lapse to start an event time-lapse video I did while working out in Poland for the last 2 weeks. So although it may not seem like it, the short time-lapse part at the beginning of this was actually the longer and more technical part to shoot in terms of settings. The hyper-lapse is actually done by changing the variable frame rate on my GH5S to 2 frames a second and using a shutter speed of 10, then simply zipping around the event with the camera on a gimbal. Anyway, here are a few steps for doing a night to day time-lapse or vice versa. It may seem basic, but scout a good location at some point beforehand. You don't want to be searching for a spot super early in the morning when you need to be capturing the time-lapse. And obviously, if you are after a sunrise, you'll need to make sure you're facing the right direction. The main subject for me was capturing the spodek and the crowds filling up outside in the morning, so I only really could face one way. By scouting a location beforehand, you'll be able to work out what lens would suit too. Because the spot I was shooting from was actually pretty far away, I opted for a long lens rather than a wide one, as I wanted the spodek to fill the frame. GH5 and GH5S have a super quick and easy time-lapse mode on the top left dial. Then you can simply adjust the interval of how often you capture an image in the time-lapse menu. I was capturing every 10 seconds and actually ended up leaving the time-lapse running for nearly 4 hours in the end to capture the crowd building up outside, so I ended up with about 2,000 photos. The GH5s do have an option to stitch together the time-lapse in camera, but when doing a time-lapse with this many photos, it's pretty heavy processing work, so I'd only use that feature if I was shooting in JPEG for maybe 300 odd photos. Another great thing that I appreciated about the GH5S on this shoot is that one battery lasted for 4 hours of time-lapsing. Now for the camera settings part. This is pretty universal to most cameras. Now with night to day or day to night, light will be changing throughout the time-lapse, so I used aperture priority mode, which means that I can manually set my aperture, focus, ISO, and the camera would only adjust the shutter speed as the light changes. I used a low ISO of 400 as I knew this would use a slow shutter to begin with and potentially capture some interesting long exposure style lights at the start. For white balance, I know some people set this manually too, but I actually shot with it on auto as I knew the lighting from the street lights and the spodek itself at some point would go off and then the white balance would change for the environment. Then with time lapses, patience is key, the weight is on. Like I said, unfortunately the weather wasn't really on my side, but lucky some cloud cover made it slightly more interesting, and fortunately the crowd building up was the main thing to show anyway. Once you've captured your photos, you can take them into your preferred software to edit and stitch them together. And that's pretty much it. I hope this has been helpful for some people and also shows that it's simpler to achieve than you first might think. As always, thanks for watching, till next time.